Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymart and you're watching Growing Older Gay. This is Kitchen Table, where we talk about the things going on in my life and the things going on at the kitchen tables around my LGBTQ plus fishbowl. And so this episode is Friday, 2/28, the last day of February, except for that leap year, that crazy year. Woo! I wanted to start with something that was very uplifting and very it was a warm moment. Last weekend, Jane Fonda, and you've probably already seen and heard about this, there's videos all over social media. She was accepting an award and she was giving a speech about empathy and all these wonderful things to really kind of soothe the soul during these times. And the quote that really was the takeaway is, by the way, woke just means that you give a damn about people. That's beautiful. Woke is good. I've used that hashtag a lot. I try to use it as much as I can because a lot of people out there in the right-wing circles of this world have been using woke as a dirty word, and it isn't. Woke is good. Woke means that you are aware of the plight of other people, that you care about the plight of other people, that you have empathy, that you want to know more, that you have an open mind about what other people want and need and strive for in their lives that might be different than yourself. It means that you give a damn about other people. And I would go so far as to say that Jesus is woke. I know there's a lot of people out there over there that probably don't want to hear about that, but woke is good. Woke is a beautiful word, and it has been taken and turned into a dirty word by a lot of people out there. And we need to take it back, I think, because it does. It just means you give a damn about somebody other than yourself. You're not a selfish bigot. You're not closed-minded. You're not cold-hearted. You care, So there's that. That's the first thing. And that sort of segues into our next part is I learned a new term last week called bi-erasure. Some of you out there already know it. It was brand new to me last week because I really stepped in it on our last episode of Kitchen Table. Let's have a look. This is a huge number. Nearly 60% of Gen Z and over half of the millennials identify as bisexual. And we all know what bisexual means. It means you're gay. It means that you're just not quite willing to go all the way there. And I'm not dissing on bisexual. I'm just saying that it's the door's open. So I didn't even know it, right? I did this episode, the video went up. My husband comes home and he goes, "That was a wonderful video you did, but you kind of had a bi-erasure moment." And I was like, "What? Bi-erasure? What's that? What's bi-erasure?" And he explained it to me that my comments that you just saw there in that video sort of fell into that category of bi-erasure. And what does that mean? It means the denial or dismissal of bisexuality as a legitimate sexual orientation. And it can occur in many forms. It can occur directly and subtly. And even when somebody's just joking around, it can be taken as dismissal or diminishing that person's right to be where they're at, meeting them where they're at. And to back my husband up, while I was sort of going, "Oh, well, that's new information," after we had that conversation, the very next morning, one of our viewers, one of you out there, commented on the same exact thing. I heard that term twice in 24 hours from somebody out there. And so I had an exchange with that person. And my first volley was, look, I was just kidding around. I was being uplifting and funny and silly. I thought it was a good thing. I thought what I said was positive. But this person explained to me why what I said can be taken and was taken by them as offensive. And so I'll share a little bit about myself. I've been married to a woman for a couple of decades before I came out, not that long ago. And so I'm new at this, but I'm also functionally a bisexual myself. And so I was kind of being lighthearted and kidding, but what I didn't realize was those comments that I made, those exact words, were the same words and comments that people who are legitimately trying to discount or diminish the bisexual nature that they use too. And that's what people who are bisexual hear and get from people on the apps. They get that from people out there in society all the time. And so I just did not realize that can come across as offensive. And so for anyone out there that saw those comments and maybe were offended or put off by that, I apologize. I certainly didn't mean to do that. I'm going to make mistakes. I stepped in it last week, and I promise I'll do it again. And I promise that if I'm called out on it and I really feel in my heart that I made a mistake or that I need to make amends in some way, I promise I'll do that too. That's I'm in this journey. It's new to me. I'm sharing what I'm learning. That's where we're at together. So there you go. Bi-erasure. Check it out. So on to other things. World Pride is coming up in Washington, D.C. late this spring. It's actually a 3-week event, May 17th through June 8th. It's almost a month-long period in Washington, D.C. where all of us can go to Washington and celebrate our rainbows. How about that? There are going to be parades, programs, parties, celebrations, things that you can learn. And pretty much during that entire period, there's something to do, places to go, and opportunities to be with our community. And it all culminates in the big weekend with a huge parade and fair. And I would guess probably a big opportunity to stand up, show up, and be counted in front of all of the powers that be in Washington, D.C. And this is actually the 50th anniversary of Pride in Washington, D.C. So I really think this is going to be a big event. I would love to go to this if I can. A big deal. So if you're looking for something big and important and part of the gay history and culture that you want to be a part of this year, take a look at this, and there's time to plan for it. World Pride 2025, the big 5-0. On other things, talking about health a little bit, I recently got my hepatitis B vaccine, and I have my second one to do pretty soon. I work in healthcare adjacent a little bit where I can be exposed to blood. I do HIV testing, and so it was recommended to me that I get the vaccine for hepatitis B because that version of hepatitis does not have a cure. And if you get it, it can really screw you up and make life difficult. So I got my vaccine and I checked around, and that wasn't too hard. Another vaccine that I've just recently heard about, as I mentioned, I just came out late, is the HPV vaccine. And generally, they say you can only get it up to age 45, but I've been getting information that you can actually still get it over 45, but there's just not a lot of proof as to whether it's effective or how that's going to work and whether insurance will cover it or not. So I've had a lot of questions that I've been getting with my doctor about, and it sort of reminded me of the idea that it's very important to have a doctor, a primary care physician, specialist too, who not only maybe are in the LGBTQ plus community, but at the very least are allies and understand the things that are specific to our lifestyle that we need to be aware of and that we need to insulate ourselves against. And so I am very lucky that I have a doctor that I can tell everything to. I can explain my sexual behaviors, my risks, what I do, how I do it. And then they can go, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is what we need to watch for when we do your checkups. And so it's just a very important thing to have that resource in your life. And so if you're somebody out there that's part of our community and you don't have a doctor that you feel comfortable talking about what you do sexually, how you do it, what parts of your body are involved in that, and really get detailed about that and maybe even do show and tell when you need to, I highly recommend it. There is a resource out there that I actually came across this week that I wanted to show you, LGBTQHealthCareDirectory.org. It's a website where you can put in your location, put in what you're looking for, and it will give you a list of LGBTQ or friendly doctors nearby that you can contact if you have specific needs. Maybe you just need a new general care, whatever the case may be. I love this. This is just a nice resource. And if you're a doctor out there that falls into that category and you're not on this, maybe look into getting yourself on there. This is just a nice thing for our community if you're looking for health care. There's a link down below in the information section for this website, but it's also linked on our website. On our website, growingoldergay.com. We have an entire resources section. You can click it on the navigation up on the top. We have a growing list of organizations and links on there, from advocacy to community centers, culture, events, health, recovery, and even travel links, things like that. And then there are breakout links that can take you to the Pride celebrations around the country, as well as men's health clubs. Very fun. And so I highly recommend you check out that, growingoldergay.com, click on resources. And if you have a link of an organization or some kind of a company or a location of something that you might want to suggest, there's a link at the bottom of that page. You can click and you can suggest, get yourself on there. We want to support our community, and that is what that's all about. The last thing I want to close with today is our 10-part series, Surviving Anti-LGBT Politics. And we have our 9th episode just dropped, and that is getting into action. A lot of us have been going, God, what can I do? I feel powerless in this scheme of things going on out there in the world. I want to do something. And one of the points made forth in this video is that action is the antidote for anxiety. If you're scared and you have anxiety and you're worried, and, oh God, doom, one of the things that can really help you mentally and spiritually and physically is to do something. Even if it's small, at least if you feel like you're taking action, it helps immensely. Maybe not as good as a Xanax, but it helps. And so this video really gets into a number of tangible ways that we can get involved and do something, from maybe just writing a letter to your elected representative to going out to a protest, standing up and being counted, everything in between. So you can check that out on our playlist. The entire playlist for the series is right there. You can also please subscribe to our YouTube channel right there. Stay informed of everything we got going on. Until next week, bye.